Hello everybody, here's my quick vacation look. When you're going away for a nice weekend and you don't want to bring a lot of product with you, this will not show any eyelash curlers, eyelashes, lip liners, any kind of thing like that. We're just going to start with some quick basics that I like to keep with me when I go away. I'm using my RCMA foundation palette. It's a really user-friendly formula. Basically, you have to warm it up. It is 50% pigment, and it is a wax-based formula, so you do want to take a bit of it and warm it up before you apply it to the face. I'm using one of the lighter shades. I'm mixing it with a little bit of a tanner shade just to get a custom formula, because when you're away, sometimes your skin tone does change. So I am taking it on my spatula. I'm taking, as you can see, just a tiny little bit. That will do my whole face. It is very blendable once it is manipulated and warmed up on my palette. So here I am warming it up on my palette. And you will see later on that I have forgotten to let you know that I'm priming my face. So I will be priming my face before I apply this. Whoops! So we are going to use the Rimmel Prime Plus. It is a matte formula, but not too matte, and it looks really nice underneath the RCMA foundation. I'm just using one pump for the entire face. I'm using my e.l.f. primer brush that I normally use with the e.l.f. putty, because it does have a little scoop on the end, but you don't need the scoop with this. It's just a pump formula. And I am covering my whole face, just the tip of my ears as well, and making sure that it's blended really well. I really like the formula of this. It does dry fairly quickly, so I like to just get a quick even coat on here. And just so you know, again, this is a quick look that I can do. We were away on the weekend in Niagara-on-the-Lake, so I just brought a few essentials with me for going out for walks, or just walking the town, walking the dog, things like that, going out for dinner. This is a nice, quick, easy look without all the implements that you would maybe normally use, including, like I said, lashes, lip liner, all that kind of thing. So I'm letting this dry for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to go ahead and use my RCMA. I'm using an Il Makiage brush. That's the one that I had with me at the time. And I am going to apply this to my face, and I'm going to blend it really well. It does have a really nice sheen to it. I'm a big fan of the RCMA palettes. I can't wait to get a hold of their liquid foundations that have just been launched. But for now, we're going to use the palette. And I'm just manipulating it really well on the palette before I apply. It goes on just like a dream. And again, I would never use too much of this, because you only need a tiny bit, because it is so user-friendly. I can do the whole face seamlessly, easily, and it lasts me all day. Now, there are a few other things that aren't in this video that I would normally use as well, because there were some things that I forgot on my trip, which does happen to the best of us. I did not bring any setting spray. I did not bring my heated eyelash curler. I didn't use any highlight in this look. I just wanted it to be dewy and soft. And normally I would use my RCMA colorless powder to set this foundation, but it was MIA. So I'm going to show you what I used instead, which is okay. If I was going out for an extended period of time and I wanted this foundation to set really well, I would use the colorless powder. RCMA has great powder. It lasts forever. It does look white, but it doesn't have a white cast on the skin, so it is really nice. But I used kind of a makeshift an alternative at the time. And when you go on vacation, it is also, which I did not mention, essential that you have your SPF. Sun is not your friend when it comes to skin. So I had SPF in my Paula's Choice sunscreen at the start of the video before I filmed. In my skincare, I always use an SPF. Here now I am just I'm not doing color correcting either, because I did not bring a color corrector palette on my vacation. I tried to condense as small as possible when we went away. That is the hubby's request. So I didn't color correct, but what I am doing is I'm using a little bit of Tarte, not the Shape Tape, but the creaseless concealer. And I'm just concealing a couple areas that I wanted to clear up. And I am using my Sigma. It's angled. They call it an angled powder brush, but I do use it for concealer because it seems to fit in quite nicely in the little corners of the eyes. Concealing a little bit of redness around the mouth area, and then I go in and I just conceal a little bit of my nose. There's a little bit of redness in there, which I would normally use a color corrector for, but again, I did not have it with me. And then I'm just concealing the inner darker corners of the eyes because that's where you get the most darkness, and just a little bit underneath. Very subtly, not very thick. I have mature skin, so I do not want a mask of concealer. I just want it to be light and fresh and bright under the eyes. I also conceal the little glasses marks. I do wear glasses, so I'm trying to conceal those. Tighten them up a bit. Who doesn't like a concealed lifted eye? That brush works really well too because it does fit into the corners because of the angle on it. I'm obsessed with that brush. I will link all the details of what I use down below in case anyone has any further questions. But again, I'm trying to make this look as quick and easy and doable just for going out a night on the town, something quick. You're at the beach, you don't want a lot of product. Now this is where I replaced my RCMA because I was silly and didn't have it. So this is the Physicians Formula. It's a powder, a glow powder, and a highlight cream in one. I'm not a big fan of the highlight cream because it just feels like Vaseline, which you can use on your high points, but basically I just use the glow powder all over just to kind of set and freshen up because my tried and true favorite RCMA was not with me. So I'm just lightly powdering everything. I'm not making it too heavy. I just want to set it, and you can already see it has a really nice glow, which is why I didn't use any highlight. I do have a little natural highlight on my cheeks anyway, so I don't use that with any great force. Now we're going to be dipping into the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow palette. I really like this. The camera doesn't pick it up quite as well, unfortunately, as what it does look like, but I am using another Sigma brush, an angled brush, to do a little bit of bronzing, and I'm just going to make it an all-over bronze. I'm not doing any contour or anything. I'm just adding a little color to my face, just so everybody knows, definitely knows, that I was on vacation, which I was. Just doing the temples, the chin. I like to do a little bit down the neck. And then I'm just going to blend it in really well. And you can already see the highlight on my cheek, and I haven't even put any highlighter on there. As you get older with mature skin, you really don't want to be too flashy with the highlighter. You just don't. It doesn't look right. And it will show all your fine lines, which you definitely don't want. Now here I've got my e.l.f. eye primer. I'm just going to prime my eyelids really well because if you're out and about at the beach or on holiday, you might be sweating and you don't want your eye makeup to come off. This is a really good primer. You just need a tiny little dot. I'm just going to blend it in all the areas that I'm going to put shadow on. So I blend it usually right up to the brow because, you know, you may have shadow up there, and I don't put a lot on. I find if you put a lot on, it's counterproductive. So I'm just putting a little bit just so that the shadow has something to adhere to. And this e.l.f. eye primer is quite nice. Pardon the ugly faces that I make during this. That cannot be helped. So here we are with bright eyes, and we will be going into brows, I believe. Yes, we are going to use my QC Makeup Academy, which is the school I graduated from. We're using their brow palette. First of all, I'm going to be working in the darker color, not the black, but the next one down, which is like a dark ashy color. My brows are naturally darker than my hair normally, so I'm not drawing new brows in. I'm not making them a different shape. Basically, I'm just filling in the sparse areas just so it is all cohesive. And yes, it does look a little bit darker than my hair, but I also have a shadow root as well, which is the darker color that I'm using. My brows are never that great, but I do try to make them great as best as I can. And this is a really nice light powder, and the angle brush fits perfectly to make those little hair-like strokes. You do not want to be drawing on your brows or making them a block shape. You just simply want to make them as natural as possible. Normally, because I cut my bangs would have been a little bit shorter, and you really don't ever see my brows that much. I like my bangs long. I like them like flowy. So in that case, my brows are very seldom highlighted. But for this tutorial, we will show you how I do them. And that brow powder works really well. Now we're going to go into the eyes, I believe. For the eyes, this is what we're using. For the eyes, we're using the Marc Jacobs palette. Sorry, had a blip there. The Marc Jacobs palette is gorgeous. It's got some shimmer, some glimmer, and then some matte shades. So what I'm doing is using the second shade from the left. Well, first I'm using the white shade, sorry. The white shade is the first shade on the left, and I'm going to use that as an all-over base. So basically it's going to stick to the eye primer and give a lot of brightness to the eyelid before we apply the color. It's a nice matte shade. It's also good for under the brow, and it really just helps set everything. And it makes the shadows pop a little bit. It's a really good quality palette, and I'm very, very surprised with it. I'd never really tried Marc Jacobs eyeshadows before, but I had seen great reviews on it, so I thought I would give it a shot. And the palette itself is stunning as well. The packaging, everything about it is just gorgeous. And the fact that it is so slim, it's easy to fit in a bag. Now I'm showing you my probably my almost favorite brush. I don't know where I got it from, but I love the little angle on it, and it is perfect for sitting in the crease or creating a corner, an outer corner. It sits perfectly there, and I'm just blending the next shade next to the white, the tan shade, and using it as a transition shade. See how that fits in the corner, and I can just lift it with minimal effort. I can create a corner just from the shape of the brush. I would love to have about 100 more of these brushes from whatever company, but the shape of it is so ideal. I've had it for probably 4 years, and I can lift up an eye just with that brush. It's amazing. See how my eye is automatically lifted? It's an amazing brush, and the color payoff in this palette is pretty something as well. It lasts and lasts. There is a little bit of fallout in the shimmer, but not much. But the shades are gorgeous, the formulation is gorgeous, and you need very, very little, as well as that it's really easy to apply. So I would say run out and get this palette for sure. I'm using the bronzy shades in it. There is a gorgeous green in it as well. But I'm using the bronzy shades because I'm just trying to create like a bronzy, beachy glow. Now, I was a little bit extra in this video, and I add a little more color than maybe I needed. I could have literally just stuck with this crease shade and a lid color and called it a day. But when the sun's out and it's bright, sometimes your eye color gets washed away. So I'm just going to show you, you know, a nice look that has a bit of depth in it, but isn't crazy. Because again, this isn't a tutorial for an everyday look or anything like that. This is just something basic that you can do quickly, and obviously quicker than this tutorial, but you can do it quickly if you know, want to go shopping or you want to go out for lunch type thing. I really like it. I like the colors. I like the way it performs. I'm just a big fan overall. So as you can see, my eyes look lifted now. I normally have downturned eyes, so my eyes naturally turn down. But with this, especially with this brush, it just flicks it up and it looks really great. The color payoff is a little bit darker in my normal lighting, but I'm gonna try to show you how authentic it can be anyway. I'm gonna try to show you how real it looks with the camera lighting. I'm still experimenting with the camera lighting. So as you can see, the crease is done and it's beautiful color. It's a nice, just tan color. And then I have kind of a wedge brush. I believe that one might be from QC. And I'm gonna go into the second last darkest color. Not the dark cocoa, but the one beside it. And that's just a slightly darker color than the crease, but it has some metallic flecks in it. And this brush is great too, because I can just place it in the corner and it does the work. See how easy that is? I'm pretty amazed with some of these brushes. You know, I may not use them in the traditional way. I may not use them the way people recommend you to do it, but I have some tried and trues that honestly just sit on my eyelid and go to town. So the less work you have to do when you let the brush do all the work, the better. But you can see that it's coming out now. The color is now popping a little bit more, and that's just from the two shades. It's just a wonderful palette. It really is. And it looks really great with blue eyes. The bronzes and the gold flecks just really make blue eyes pop. So there's another helpful hint for you. But I love that. I love the way it looks. I love the way it opens up my eye, and it does make the blue stand out. Now I'm using another Sigma brush. That's my Sigma Packer brush. I don't have the numbers with me, but I will link them down below. And now I'm going into the same shade that I used in the outer corner, and I'm just doing a little bit of a drop shadow just to bring all the look together. You have to be really careful with this one because it has some sparkle pigments in it, and sometimes your eye can react to it, so just be very, very careful. But it adds a nice shadow and it just rounds the eye out without taking away from the lifted effect. Now I'm using the smudger brush again, and I'm just going to smoke it out a little bit more. I find that my lower lash line usually wears off first, and I still do have a bit of an eye watering issue on my right eye, so I do like to make sure it's really solid and in place. Now I'm just touching up everything else, blending it out again, making sure it's symmetrical and even. But it's a lovely shape on the outside corner of the eye, all thanks to that brush. I'm just obsessed with it. I think I got it from an old subscription box, but I would like many more brushes with that shape. Okay, I hope you can see it. It's a little, my lighting is still a little bit off. It would be a little bit more bold maybe in person, but I think you can kind of get the idea of the colors. Now I'm using a small Sigma packing brush, and I'm gonna take the center color. It's more of a bronze shimmer. The one beside it would be a gold shimmer, but it's a nice light bronze shimmer, and it doesn't come off super crazy blinding bright. It comes off just like a gentle sparkle. It's really brilliant, and as the day goes on, you can still see the sparkle, but it almost just, you know, absorbs into your eye. It's really a gorgeous formula. It's almost like a shifting effect. So you can see the hint of it, but it's not in your face. I love it. Well done, Marc Jacobs. And I'm just sweeping it on the top of the lid. I didn't bring setting spray, so we're not going to use it in this tutorial. But if you want a bolder impact, you can always spray your brush. See how pretty that is? You can spray your brush and you can definitely have high impact. There's also a bright gold that is nice if you wanted to go that route. Now I'm just going to blend it all in together. Just make sure that it's a little bit seamless. That sparkle shade is just amazing. When the sun hits it, it's gorgeous. You see little dots of flecks, but you don't see chunky flecks, which I'm not a big fan of. Looking good. Now I'm going to take just a clean fluffy brush and I'm going to take the white shade, which is the one we started with, and I'm just going to hit the high points of my brow and make the brow bone pop out a little bit more. And it's matte, there's no shimmer. I don't like highlight up there, so I'm just doing a very simple brightening of the brow bone. I'm a big fan of more natural beauty, more natural looks, and ones that just, you know, they don't take away from the face. Now I'm using the QC Brow Palette again and the angle brush that came with it. And I'm going to put a light top liner on the lids just with the black powder. I don't like harsh liners. I don't like a lot of heavy liquid liners for myself. But what I do like is using a dark powder and just gently packing it into the lash line. Sometimes I'll only do half out if I just want a winged effect, but I'm just going to line the entire eye, and it's going to take a bit, but I'm going to dot it into the lash line. I'm doing a lot more of it in the video than I would do in person, just so the camera can pick it up. But because I want some definition in the eye, I'm just going to dot it all along the lash and make sure that the lash line is completely filled in. It is a time-consuming process sometimes depending on the powders, but it definitely has a nice payoff because it makes it soft but still noticeable. So it basically just gives the illusion of thicker lashes, which who doesn't want that, right? This QC Brow Palette is amazing. It's quality product. You get a lot of product in there, and they do give you a few different shades to work with so that you can make when you do your brows, you can make your brows appear more natural looking, because your brows don't necessarily just have one shade of hair in it. So if you switch it up a little bit and mix up the colors, you can get a really customized, beautiful hair-like stroke brow. And the black is amazing for eyeliner as well. As you can see, it's a little bolder, but it's not over the top because we don't want to take away from the softness of a beach-inspired look. We don't want to have heavy black eyeliner when we're strolling along the beach maybe, or even going in the water, you know what I mean? It's good for a nice lunch date. Just gives the definition without being crazy. Again, it's a little hard to see with this lighting, so I'm switching the light to see if it makes a difference. You might notice the light go in and out. I'm just trying to test how you can get the most benefit by looking at this. And the light goes back up. Once you're satisfied with the intensity of the powdered liner, it's not so much the thickness, it's more the intensity, because I did just do a thin line. I'm going to prime my lashes with a product I got in one of my boxes. It's called Luna Magic, but it's for some reason pink. I'm not sure why. But it's an amazing primer, and I was pleasantly surprised. Sometimes you'll find me doing tutorials of things that I've never tried before, and I just want to give them, you know, honorable mention. But this primer's really good. It'll make my lashes look crazy long, so I don't need fake eyelashes. I'm not really fond of wearing fake eyelashes too often, but I do like a good quality mascara. So priming always helps me. I don't do my lower lashes as well either, because my lashes have a tendency to get tangled for some reason. My lower lashes are really long. So what I do is I prime my upper lashes, and then I'll go in with the mascara a couple minutes later. And the mascara that I bought was basically just a Sephora one, but it's really quite impressive. Combined with lash primer, I can double my lash length quite easily. So I'm just going to do a couple coats of mascara. Again, I'm going to leave the bottom lashes alone. I find that my lashes stick together a lot when I have both done. And I really don't want my eyes to be dragged down with too much mascara underneath. I want to keep everything up top and lifted. Again, this is a quick tutorial on a beach vacation type look that you don't want to take a lot of time for. And honestly, if I wasn't doing this video, it probably would have taken me about 10-15 minutes to do the look. Because you don't want to spend a lot of time, and you definitely don't want to take a lot of product. You just want to take some essentials to make yourself look a little bit glowy and a little bit extra without having to lug everything you own. Who doesn't make the mascara face when you put on mascara? I'm very conscious of it. Yes, it's not a good face, but it is a face that's necessary when you're doing your eyes. And being a woman of 53 years of age, obviously, I am not going to have the flawless face that maybe a 20-year-old will have. So I do things a little bit differently than a 20-year-old might. As you mature, your skin needs are different. Your eyelids have a tendency to droop. Your face has a tendency to droop. Your lips have a tendency to lose a little bit of color. Your eyebrows and eyelashes get a little bit thinner. So these are all things as mature women we have to look at when we're doing our makeup. As you can see, me looking down is not the best look for me. But these are all things that just happen as you get older, and there's not much you can do about it. So let's be our best bad selves and do it the way that works for us. This is not maybe necessarily how I would apply makeup to a client. I have a different approach to clients because, you know, they might not all necessarily have mature skin. When you have mature skin with me, I do things a certain way. But it works. Now I'm just cleaning up everything, cleaning up the edges, making everything sharp and crisp. And you can see that liner just makes a subtle detail. It's not a lot. Now I'm using the MAC Prep and Prime for lips. I find that if I'm using a matte lipstick, which I am going to be doing, then the Prep and Prime really helps. It helps the lip product adhere. It keeps the lips moist because some matte lipsticks can also be very drying. So if you apply the MAC Prep and Prime first, then it gives you a really solid base. It's also really good to use if you're using reds, because reds sometimes are very unforgiving, and the Prep and Prime just kind of keeps everything in place. Now, as I mentioned, I did not bring lip liner. I wanted my looks for the weekend to be very soft. So normally this step, I would be lining my lips first and then filling them in, but I'm not doing that. I'm skipping this step. So I am zooming right to the lipstick, and I'm using a Charlotte Tilbury lip, which you can see, hopefully. And it's kind of a matte, orangey, bronzy, coral shade, all kind of mixed together. So I'm going to use that. And that will be very cohesive and go well with the gold and the bronze type golden eye. I'm going to put some on a lip brush. This is a very nice product. It adheres well. It's not creamy, but it's not as drying as a lot of matte lip products are. I will say with Charlotte's stuff, a lot of their lip products I find doesn't have a lot of staying power. But it does look great. I mean, if you want to bring your lipstick, obviously, to touch up, I suggest it because it's not a long wearing lip product. But I do like this color with these eyes. Had I had less of a power eye, then I would probably go, if I had a light bronze eye, I probably would have gone with a more red lip. But with this look, because in person the eyes are quite strong, I'm just going to go with a matte corally pink shade. And it works really well, I think. It's a beautiful color. Now, of course, because I just want to be a tiny bit extra without looking that I'm being extra, so here's my little secret tip, is I am taking that same bronzy shade that's on my lid. I'm going to apply a little bit to my finger, and I'm going to apply a little bit to my bottom lip, just to make it shimmer a little bit, just to give it a bit of frost in the center. That also has a tendency to make your lips appear a little bit fuller. So when my lips hit the sun, you will see a normal coral base, and then you will see this light shimmer just in the center. And that's about it, folks. That's it. Minus the bougie hair, I think that we have covered a quick and easy bronzy look that you can go out for the weekend, date night, whatever, and look your best. Thanks for tuning in.